So I might have to start again to have a complete video. So when you talk of international arbitrage, it's taking advantage of discrepancies in prices in different places to make riskless profit. So you buy financial instruments or currency from one location or from one country and sell in another place with the aim of making profit. We have three types we had mentioned. There is locational arbitrage, triangular arbitrage, and covered interest arbitrage. So to start off, we need to discuss what is allocational arbitrage. I've just mentioned that locational arbitrage is where you take advantage of prices of discrepancies in prices in different locations. In this case, it can be different institutions or different locations. When you talk of banks, you can be the banks in the same locations, but they have discrepancies in prices. But for location arbitrage to be practical, the selling price of one institution or one location should be lower than the buying price of the other place. For example, when you go to Standard Chartered, let's assume you want to take advantage of the dollar. You realize here they have quoted 100 against 105. You go to KCB. For the location arbitrage to be practical, the buying price of KCB should be higher than the selling price of Standard Chartered. So in this case, let's say the selling price is 106. They are very small profits. With the arbitrage, you don't make a jug of profit. Small profit is only that it's riskless. So for it to be practical, this is the buying price of KCB should be higher than the selling price of Standard Chartered. Because let's assume you have like 1,000, you have 10,000 Kenya shillings, and you are aiming to take advantage of this discrepancy of profit. Kindly unmute only when you are responding to a question so that you don't disrupt the class. So let's assume you have 10,000 Kenya shillings and you are targeting to take advantage of these discrepancies to make profit. So what you do, you take your 10,000, go to Standard Chartered, buy US dollars. They will sell to you at 105. Divide by 105. So how many dollars will you end up with? You go to Standard Chartered, buy dollars. How many dollars will you end up with?
95.23.
Sorry?
95.
95.
Yeah.
So those are the dollars you'll end up with. Then you go to KCB and sell your dollars. Now selling, they will do it at their buying price, which is 106 times 95. So how many Kenya shillings will you end up with?
10,095 shillings.
10,095 shillings. So you'll have made 95 shillings from the discrepancy in the prices. So that's how you carry out allocation or arbitrage. So the first thing for you to know whether there's allocation or arbitrage opportunity, should look at the buying price and the selling price of the different locations. We have just mentioned for it to be viable, the selling price in one market must be lower than the buying price in the other market, because you are buying from one place at their selling price and you are coming to sell in the other market at their buying price. So there must be that difference in pricing for you to have an opportunity to be able to carry out allocational arbitrage. I want to see whether there's a different example. Locational arbitrage, there's an example here, which is using other currencies. Yeah, I like using the common currencies. You can just take a screenshot of that, we attempt it, then we proceed. So this is just an example I want us to do. It's more or less the same as what we have done. They're saying that, let's assume, just a minute, I seem to have misplaced my screenshot. So they're giving prices here. There's Bank C. In Bank C, we are told the New Zealand NZ against the dollar is 0.635. Then the ask price is 0.640. Then in the other bank, which is D, we are given that the bid price is 0.645. Ask price is 0.650. So the first question you should ask yourself, is there an arbitrage opportunity? The first question you should ask yourself is whether there's an arbitrage opportunity. Can someone take advantage and make some profits?
Yes, there is.
Why? Where do you buy from? Where do you sell?
Because if I buy from C, the bank will sell to me at 0.640. And if I sell to D, they will buy from me at 0.645. So 645 is higher than 640.
Thank you. So that's how you look at whether there's an opportunity. And here we are seeing there's an opportunity because if you buy from Bank C, they will sell you at this price. Then you go sell in Bank D, which will buy from you at this price. So there's an opportunity which you will be making around 0.005 cents in every dollar you will sell. So there's an opportunity, and that's how you identify allocation or arbitrage opportunity. But I've just mentioned arbitrage does not last long, because like for our first example which we were doing, we are saying that we were taking Standard Chartered with the 100 Kenya shillings and 105, then KCB with 106 and 107. So in this case, this was the bid price, this was the ask price. In this case, we are saying you buy from Standard Chartered and sell in KCB. Remember, you are not the only speculator in the market. You are not the only one who has the information about the money markets. So there are so many speculators in the market, and everyone will know existence of this discrepancy, and they will go to Standard Chartered to buy. They will all be going there to buy the US dollar, and they will also be flooding KCB, selling the US dollar. What happens when it comes to demand and supply? Remember, demand and supply will apply everywhere. The principle of demand and supply will apply everywhere where there's buying and selling, regardless of the commodity you are buying and selling. There will be increasing demand for US dollar in Standard Chartered, and there will be a lot of supply of the dollar in KCB. So what is likely to happen? The price here is likely to go up, and the price here is likely to go down. So it might not, normally in normal circumstances or in a normal market, the discrepancy does not last long. They will realign within no time, and you'll not be able to take that advantage. That's why normally when you walk to bank, you might not realize there's such big discrepancies, because there are people who are monitoring the discrepancies and doing this speculation and a lot of arbitrage, which will force the market to realign, because this price will start going up and this other one will start going down. So within no time, they will realign to the same prices. So it does not last long. It will realign the prices after some duration. So that's how you carry out location arbitrage. It's about looking at the prices in different places, and you need to know about the bid-ask price. And for it to be viable, selling price in one place must be lower than the buying price in the other place for you to make profits. So we need to talk about triangular arbitrage. Triangular arbitrage. I remember at the beginning of the class, we talked of cross exchange rate. And I said we'll use it somewhere else later in the course. So what do we mean by cross exchange rate? Someone to remind us. What do you mean by cross exchange rate? What do we mean by cross exchange rate?
I think for me, I'll say it is a crossing over exchange from maybe one country to another.
Can I try?
Yes, go ahead.
Cross exchange rate is where we don't have a direct exchange rate. For example, let's say $1 is equals to a certain amount of Kenya shilling, and say 105 Kenya shillings, and the other one is we have a currency $1 is equal to 200 Tanzania Kenya shilling, for example. And then we want to exchange the Tanzania and Kenya.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. We say these are prices which are not directly quoted in the market, but here the concept we want to apply. Remember, we were able to calculate cross exchange rates. So when you are given two rates, even if they were like, let's assume you were given $1, just the example he was giving, equals to 105 Kenya shillings. And then you are given 1 Kenyan shillings equals to, let's assume 24 Tanzanian shillings. You should be able to calculate the exchange rate between the dollar and the Tanzanian shillings. I think that we were able to do. So what would be our cross exchange rate between the dollar and the Tanzanian shillings in this case? What would be our exchange rate? Cross exchange rate. You are given that the $1 equals to 105 Kenya shillings, then you are given 1 Kenya shillings equals to 24 Tanzanian shillings. So you want to know how many dollars can be exchanged, how many Tanzanian shillings can buy a dollar. So what is our cross exchange rate in this case? Anyone who remembers what we were doing?
I think you're going to find the 1 Kenya shillings is equal to how many US dollars, then you equate it to 24 Tanzanian shillings, then you cross multiply.
So what is our cross exchange rate in this case?
So it would be 1 Kenya shillings equals to 1/0.5 Kenya shillings. Then you equate it, 1/0.5 is equals to 24, then you multiply to get the 1 Kenya shilling is equal to how many Tanzanian shillings.
So what are you getting? Sorry.
25.20.
25.20.
So it means $1 equals to 25.20 Tanzanian shillings. So that I just wanted to remind you how to calculate the cross exchange rate. So when you talk of triangular arbitrage, it's taking advantage of the cross exchange rate. You might realize that the market has quoted the two currencies. Like just the example we were doing, you will find that they have given the 3 quotes of the currencies. But when you calculate the cross exchange rate between the two currencies, you realize there's a discrepancy, and that is what you take advantage on. So This is when the actual cross exchange rate between two currencies differs from the spot rate quoted in the market. So the market might give a quote of the three currencies. For example, just like what, let me stop this one before I project it. I want us to take the example there. Like now here, where we were talking about the Tanzanian shillings, we might find that the market is giving very clear quotes. $1 equals to 105 Kenya shillings. Then it also gives that 1 Kenya shillings equals to 24 Tanzanian shillings. Then it gives a quote of Tanzanian shillings against the dollar, which would be $1 equals to, let's assume 26 Tanzanian shillings. These are just assumptions. This is the quote, this is a spot quote, the spot rate in the market. You can remember we talked of spot rate, is the rate at which you would buy or sell the currency right now in the market. But when you calculate the cross exchange rate between the Tanzanian shillings and the US dollar, we have realized it's what? $1 equals to 25?
20.
Was it 20? 20 Tanzanian shillings. So there's a discrepancy between this and what the market is giving. The market is giving more for Tanzanian shillings than the actual cross exchange rate. So the market is giving more, but when you calculate in the real sense, you realize the market is giving higher. So you get into a trade where you want to take advantage of this cross exchange rate they are giving here. So how do you do it? You're in Kenya, you take your Kenya shillings, convert them, you take, let's assume you have US dollars, convert them to Tanzanian shillings, then convert that Tanzanian shillings back to Kenya shillings. So it's a triangular sort of trade. You start from the currency. Let's assume you have Kenya shillings here, Tanzanian shillings here, and US dollars here. You want to take advantage of the more Tanzanian shillings, which is being given in the market. So how do you go about it? You convert your Kenya shillings to US dollars. You convert US dollars to Tanzanian shillings. Then you convert Tanzanian shillings back to your Kenyan shillings. So you get back to where you started, but you only wanted to take advantage of the more Tanzanian shillings which are being given. Just a minute, I want to be sure I'm giving the correct movement. Yeah. So you take advantage of the market is giving more Tanzanian shillings for US dollars. So you want to take advantage of that to make profits. So in this, when you talk of triangular arbitrage, you take advantage of the cross exchange rate. It's where you go to the market and they realize the cross exchange rate being given in the market is offering more compared to what it should be offering, or it's offering less. So you want to take advantage of that. So I wanted to take the example in the notes. Some people are asking for the example, the answers in the examples. So I've decided to do the examples in the notes. Sorry. So I've just mentioned that triangular arbitrage is where the actual cross exchange rate between two currencies differs from the spot. So you go to the market, realize there's a spot rate for the two currencies, but when you compute the cross exchange rate, you realize there's a discrepancy. So you take advantage of that discrepancy to make profit. The process of taking one currency and converting it to another currency, only to convert it back to the original currency. So it's a triangular sort of arrangement. And there's an example there, which is in using those currencies, British pound, Malaysian ringgit, and it's giving the exchange rates. So I want us to see whether there's an opportunity to carry out the triangular arbitrage. Just take a screenshot of that. So these are the quotes in the market. These are the quotes in the market. You are given that the British pound is exchanging at that. Malaysian ringgit is exchanging at that. Then there's an exchange rate between the pound and the Malaysian currency. We want first to know, is there an arbitrage opportunity? Then we show how you can take advantage of it to make profits. So the first thing is to calculate the cross exchange rate of these two currencies. Let me go back to the other screen where I can draw it. So in this case, you are given the first exchange rate we are given is the British pound. British pound against the dollar. You are given the bid and the ask price. The bid price here is 1.60. The ask price is 1.61. Then you are given the MYR, which the bid price is 0.200. The ask price is 0.202. Then you are given the exchange rate between the pound and the Malaysian currency, which is 8.1 and 8.2. So first of all, we need to see whether there is a discrepancy, whether market is giving. This is a spot rate. This is a spot rate. So we want to know, is there a discrepancy in the cross exchange rate? In this case, the main currencies here is this is against the dollar. This is a cross exchange rate given in the market. This is a rate given in the market. So we should test whether if we calculate the cross exchange rates of these two currencies, there's a discrepancy which you can take advantage of. We are together. So the first step is to calculate the cross exchange rate between the pound and the Malaysian currency to see whether there's a discrepancy. Let's first calculate for the buying price, the bid price. We are given that 1 pound equals to $1.60. Then we are given 1 MYR equals to $0.200. So we want to calculate the cross exchange rate between these two currencies and see and see whether there's a discrepancy in the prices. So what is the cross exchange rate? So that we can know whether there's an arbitrage opportunity in the market. Can you be selling and buying one currency to make profit? Or can you convert the change within the three currencies and make profits? What is the cross exchange rate? What's the cross exchange rate? Remember, this is 1 unit. This is 1 unit. What is the cross exchange rate? What is the cross exchange rate?
Yes, is it 1 pound to 8 Malaysian currency?
Yes, we are trying to see, this is what is given in the market. So we are trying to see what is the cross exchange rate if we were to use these two. What is the actual cross exchange rate? Because market might be giving me more or less. So what is the actual cross exchange rate? Anyone wants to attempt?
1 pound to 8 Malaysian.
1 pound to
8.
How did you go about it? Maybe for the others to get.
I think it's 1 point. If 1 pound is equals to 1.60,
Yes.
then that is now $6.0. What about $0.2? So 0.2 is supposed to be there. So that we now get the 1 pound in the Malaysian shillings.
Okay. So I think that's one way of doing it, or you can still make $1 unit against the number of pounds, and $1 1 unit against the number of Malaysian currency. Then you equate, then you will still get to the same. So the market is giving a higher rate of 8.1, and on the selling price, compute on the selling price. Is there a discrepancy in the selling price? Sorry. Is there a discrepancy in the selling price? Because we have realized now that the cross exchange rate on this side should be 8.0. The market is giving 8.1. So that's an opportunity you can take advantage of. And on the ask price, what is the cross exchange rate? On the ask price, what is the cross exchange rate?
It's 7.9.
7.
So, yeah,
7.97.
0.97. So now we have already agreed the cross exchange is giving better deal. So you can do some triangular arbitrage. How do you go about it? Because you want to take advantage of that discrepancy and make some profits from that. So where do you start? Our triangle is there. So you are taking advantage between the pound. Let's assume the dollar is here. The pound is here. The Malaysian currency is here. The discrepancy is here. The number of pounds for MYR. So how do you go about it? You're in US, so you convert your dollars to pounds. Convert your pounds. Just a minute, I want to get it right. So you're in US, you convert your dollars to pounds, convert your pounds to MYR, then convert your MYR back to pounds, to dollars, to take advantage of the discrepancy of the prices here. Are we together up to that?
yes.
So that's what we call a triangular arbitrage. I don't know whether there's any example which has figures. I thought that one would give us figures. We do some practical, you see whether you are making profit. But it's just mentioning how to do about it.
Excuse Malimu.
Yes.
Now that we have the rates, can we just assume we want to change a certain amount of US dollars into pounds, then Malaysia currency, and we see how much we are able to obtain?
Okay, I think that is what will help, because I thought there are figures here, we could use them. Just a minute. I did not go through the notes, so I was assuming there are figures there. We could have used them, but whatever Siga is proposing is what I think would work. We just assume some amount, then test whether we are making any profits. So it's saying, yeah, there's a discrepancy. I just wanted to see whether there's something I've skipped. The market is giving more MYR for £1. So that's a discrepancy you want to take advantage of. So there's an opportunity to carry out the triangular arbitrage. So I just want to get the movement right. Okay, let's assume how much, let's just do the example, we see whether it will take us to profit. So we start with you're in US, you have how many dollars? We start with 10,000 US dollars and see whether you will end up with more. So you start here with 10,000 US dollars. You want to convert your dollars to pounds so that you can take advantage of the discrepancy here then you convert your MYR back to dollars. So where do you, what exchange rate would you convert your dollars to pounds? What were our exchange rates? We had the exchange rates which we were given for pound. Pound was 1.60 against 1.61. Then the MYR was 0.200. The other side was 0.202. Then the cross exchange rate, which was the spot rate, was 8.1 against 8.2. So the first thing you are in US, let's assume you're in US, you want to take advantage of this discrepancy. You have 10,000 US dollars. You want to convert them to pounds. So you are buying or you are selling. That's where you should start by identifying the price. You are buying pounds.
We are buying.
So you will buy it at what rate?
1.61.
1.61. So you exchange at the rate of 1.61. So how many pounds do you end up with? How many pounds do you end up with?
This is 16,100.
16,100. Then you need to convert this. Remember, we are still buying because we are in a currency where in a country where these currencies are not used. You want to convert this to MYR. What rate do you use? 8 point? No, you are selling this currency because in that place, you are not buying MYR. You already have the pounds, so you are selling them to get the MYR. So you will do it at what rate?
8.2.
8.1.
1.
8.1. Remember, you have pounds and you are going to bank to give them, they give you MYR. So it's like you are selling your pounds. So you are changing it at what rate? 8.1. So how many MYR will you end up with? How many Malaysian currency will you end up with?
Excuse me, Malimo.
Yes.
I still believe that we are buying the Malaysian Nini currency from the bank. Why are you using 8.1?
Just a minute. You can, yeah, okay, you can argue it either way. You might be selling your pounds or you might be buying Malaysian currency. But in this case, you are in US where the currencies are not traded. Yeah, you should use 8.2 because you are buying, so they are selling to you. That's okay. So how many Malaysian currency will you end up with?
Is it 1963.4146?
Pound is stronger than this, so I expect them to be more.
I'm getting 132,020.
Correct.
132,020.
Yes.
Yes.
The lady who was giving the less thing, the pound is stronger than Malaysian currency, even in the normal market, and even the quote the way it is here. It's clear it's £1 against the Malaysian currency. So it should be 132,020.
Oh, yeah, sure.
0.20. Then you convert this back to US dollars. Now you are here selling currency now. Which price will you use? 0.200. So how many dollars will you end up with? How many dollars will you end up with?
26,404.
26?
404.
Are you getting the same?
Yes.
Class, munapata the same. Your profit ni abnormal. Anyway, it was just for purposes of demonstration. Normally, you cannot make such a huge profit in Arbitrage. It's usually a very small amount, but for purposes of demonstration, you have seen how you can make profits out of Arbitrage. You started with 10,000, you ended up with 26.
I think the profit is 16.
Yeah, so the profit is 16.
Because you subtract 10,000 days.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's an abnormal. It's not normal to make such percentages of profits in Arbitrage, but it's usually a very slim differences. But anyway, maybe the figures we used were exaggerated.
No, I think we went wrong somewhere.
This
where?
In the first place, 10,000.
Yes.
We were supposed to. We were not supposed to multiply. We were supposed to divide by 1.61, not multiply.
But me, I'm not doing it. It's you people. You're giving me wrong answers.
Yeah, so he gave you 16,000 instead of 6,200.
So do we rework it again?
Yes.
We started
Yes.
with 10,000 because it's an abnormal profit.
So 10,000,
Mhm.
you divide by 1.61,
Mhm.
you get 6,211. Then when you have the 6,211, you multiply by 8.2, you get 50,931. Then from there back to the dollar, you'll get 10,186.
Yes, now it looks normal.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, it's not normal to make such huge profits in a normal arbitrage. So
At
we
Malim,
yes.
which currency is stronger between the pound and the US dollar? Should be the pound.
Yes.
Yes. So we multiply.
Now in
The
this case,
conversion-
it means 1 pound equals to 1.61 US dollars.
Yes.
And we are converting 10,000 US dollars to pounds. So you
Yes.
divide. Should divide, not multiply.
Okay, actually, the question is, how many pounds are we getting out of 10,000 US dollars?
Yes, that is the question.
Yes.
So if the pound was strong, then it means they should be less compared to the dollars. So we have $10,000 we are converting to pounds, and the pound is strong, so you should get less pounds.
Yes, yes.
Tumeelewana?
Okay.
Now this looks normal. This is what I expect when it comes to arbitrage. So you make some profit, but as I have said, the arbitrage opportunities don't last for long. Remember, you are not the only one who is doing this. So with the time, these prices will realign and the discrepancy in the cross exchange rate will disappear. You will not have the discrepancy anymore. So it is not a long lasting opportunity, but we say it's a riskless profit because this is an affair you can carry out within 1 hour. If it's within the bank, you just go convert your money to pounds, go convert to MYR and convert back. You can repeat several times before the market realign. So that's how you go about triangular arbitrage. You need to do more practice on that area because I know it's also an examinable area and it's also something complicated, unlike the rest, which are very straightforward. So the last one is what we call covered interest arbitrage. So when you talk of covered interest arbitrage, we must you take advantage of discrepancies in interest rates. You take advantage in discrepancies in fixed deposit interest rates. You realize that in Kenya the rates are less than in Tanzania, so you decide to put your fixed deposits in Tanzania. but you have to do the covering part of it. You have to do the covering part of it. When we talk of covering, we got the covered part. You take a forward contract with a bank to cover yourself from exchange rate variations. So the steps of covered interest arbitrage is where you negotiate the forward rate. You go negotiate the forward rate, then convert your currency to the foreign currency. Then you fix it or put in a fixed deposit where interests are high. So you are taking advantage of discrepancies in the interest rates. So you put in a fixed deposit where the interests are high. Then at the maturity of the deposit, you convert back your currency to your home currency using the forward rate. So the covering part of it is to ensure that you don't suffer losses, even though you have earned more interest, you don't lose your profits or your interest when converting the back your money to your home country currency. Now to demonstrate that, let's assume you have 100,000 Kenya shillings. You have 100,000 Kenya shillings. The deposit rates in Kenya, let's assume is 10%. Then deposit rates in Tanzania, I like using currencies which are near us. Let's assume they're doing at 13%. The spot rate right now is 1 Kenya shillings equals to, let's assume 24 Tanzanian shillings. So you want to take advantage of these two different prices. And before I forget, someone sent a question on WhatsApp. Sorry, I didn't respond. Was asking the difference between lending and borrowing, the borrowing price. That question had a mistake. One should be a deposit rate because borrowing and lending is more or less the same. So ilikuwa na makosa. One of them should be deposit rates, the first one. Then the other one is the one which is borrowing rate. So let's assume you want to take advantage of this discrepancy. You have realized if you fix your 100,000 in Kenya, you'll do it at 10%. If you fix it in Tanzania, you'll do it at 13%. The spot rate is 24. So the first thing we have said, you go to the market and negotiate a forward rate. Let's assume you're not using the 100K in the next, let's talk of 1 year. You want to put a fixed deposit for 1 year. You go to the bank and negotiate a forward rate of 1 year. Yes, I'm going to deposit my money in Tanzania, but at this time when it matures, at what rate will I convert it back to Kenyan shillings? Because at the point of depositing, you are converting at the spot rate, which is 24. Now, if it happens that you don't negotiate the forward rate at the time of converting it back, it goes up, or the Tanzanian shilling becomes strong, there will be a disturbance in the conversion rate. So you go to the market, to the bank, negotiate your forward rate. Let's assume they give you a forward rate of 1 Kenyan shillings equals to 25 Tanzanian shillings. That's what the rate they will give you. So you go convert your money right now to Kenyan shillings, to Tanzanian shillings. So you have 100,000 Kenya shillings. 1 Kenya shilling equals to 24 Tanzanian shillings. So how much will be, how many Tanzanian shillings will you have? It comes to 24. That's the number of, you'll have 2 million in Tanzania shillings. So that's the amount you'll fix. You are fixing for only 1 year. You're fixing it in Tanzania. You'll fix it for 1 year. So you'll earn interest of 13% out of 100 times 2,400,000. So how much interest will you earn? How much interest will you earn?
13%.
Yes. Sorry?
312,000.
312.
Yes.
So at the end of the transaction, how much will you have? 312 plus the 2.4. You'll have
27.
2,712,000
Tanzanian shillings. You had negotiated your rate at the beginning. So now you want to convert your money back to Kenyan shillings. You had negotiated a rate of 25 Tanzanian shillings. So you want to convert your 27.12 back to Kenyan shillings. How many Kenyan shillings will you end up with? How many? Sorry?
108,480.
Sorry?
108,480.
108,480.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's what you are getting. Let's see if you deposited your money in Kenya, how much you'll end up with. If you deposited the 100,000. If you deposited the 100,000 in Kenya, how much will you end up with?
108.
108.
Yes. 480.
No, I'm saying if you deposited in Kenya.
Oh, sorry.
You'll end up with 110,000.
110,000.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So you are not making profit by going abroad. But let's assume the forward rate you negotiated. The forward rate you had negotiated. Let's assume they gave you a lesser rate, maybe 1 Kenya shillings will equal to talk of 20 Tanzanian shillings. How much will you end up with if the forward rate was a lesser rate, not 25?
$135,600.
If they had given you a lesser rate, you'd have 135.
135,600.
So you would be making profit. So actually of the critical thing here is the forward rate you get. Forward rate you get. You get a forward rate or they should give you a forward contract, which is lesser than the rate at which you are converting for you to make profits by taking advantage of the discrepancy in the interest rates. So before you go for the discrepancies in the interest rates, you need to get your forward rate and do computations and see whether you are making profit by investing outside or at the rate at the time of converting it back to your local currency, you lose the profits. Or sometimes like the first scenario where we did, yes, you earned more interest than what you would have earned. Okay, so you must compute first and see whether you are making more profit by investing abroad after negotiating the forward rate. That's why we say the first thing is to negotiate the forward rate. If they give a good rate, you convert your currency to the foreign currency, then put in fixed deposit. On maturity, you convert your money back to your home currency at the forward rate negotiated. So the critical part of it here is the forward rate. That is what will inform you whether you are making more profit. Like in the first scenario where we are given forward rate of 25, we are making profit, not the same as what we would have made if we invested locally, because we are getting 108, 200, locally would have made 10,000. But if the rate was like 20, you would be making more than if you invested abroad. So with the covered interest arbitrage, of critical here is get the forward contract, know the rate at which you will convert your currency back. Remember with forward contract, we say that there's no nothing you commit, there's nothing you pay for. So if you realize you are not making any profit, then you can cancel the contract. You remember we said that there are defaulters in those contracts, so they are not binding. There's nothing you have committed to it, unlike other things like options where you are committing. So you go negotiate your forward contract, you compute and see whether you are making more profit by investing outside the country, because you are already assured of the rate at which you will convert your currency back home. So when you talk of covered interest arbitrage, we are taking advantage of discrepancies in interest rates. But now it's just the same as what we have said. Remember, in this case, everyone is trying to take advantage of those interest rates. So they are converting Kenya shillings to Tanzanian shillings. And everyone is negotiating a forward rate of Kenya shillings against Tanzanian shillings. So the market, the principle of demand and supply, I've said it applies everywhere. So everyone will be converting Kenya shillings to Tanzanian shillings. So Tanzanian shillings demand will be going up. Everyone will be demanding to buy Tanzanian shillings. So their prices will start going up. Also, the forward contract prices will start also realigning because everyone is negotiating that forward rate. And you know, the banks are very sensitive because of the exposure. They don't want to give so many forward contracts at a lower rate, which will make them suffer in case the currencies change. So even the price for the forward rate will start going up. And with time, whatever you are getting by investing abroad will equal what you'll get by investing locally. So it means there will be no sense of practicing the covered interest arbitrage. And that is the state we call interest rate parity. Interest rate parity state of economy, where the covered interest arbitrage cannot be carried out. Even though you invest in Tanzania, there's a higher interest, or the interest you have earned will be consumed in converting it back to Kenya shillings, and you just get the same interest you could have earned by investing locally. That's why sometimes you see, yes, they're giving good interest rates, but we cannot take our money there and invest because there's a state of economy of interest rate parity. Even though the interest rates are different, you cannot make any profit by taking advantage of them, because at the point of converting your currency, the forward rates will adjust and neutralize the high interests. So that is what we call covered interest arbitrage, and marks the end of our arbitrage lesson. I said we are only doing what is necessary for finance. I know arbitrage would be used to refer to trading with so many items and financial instruments, but because our class was concerned on the currencies, we narrowed down to currencies. But I know there are even speculators who are in the stock market doing that. They know which shares are going up, they know what is going down. So they are literally practicing arbitrage on shares and even options, even the futures. We discussed all that in class. There are speculators in market who are literally doing that. They're just buying, holding, waiting to release, or buying from here, selling in the other market. So arbitrage is not necessarily on currencies. It can be on any financial instrument. Even people would buy this share, sell again, buy another one, because they want to take advantage in discrepancies in pricing. Or you even holding government bonds or treasury bonds, you sell them and buy another one, which is giving better deals. So arbitrage is not only fixed to currencies, it is to all the financial instruments. But for our purpose, we could only tackle the ones which are concerning the currencies, because those are the financial instruments we are talking about. So I think that marks the end of our class today. Next Saturday, we'll have our CAT, our comprehensive CAT. Do we do it physical or online? We have our distance learning students with us. So we can only do it online.
Yes.
I can. So
Yes.
next Saturday, we'll have our CAT. I'll try to put it up in the morning. You can attempt it anytime during the day up to midnight. So we'll not have a class. Officially, actually, we should do it during class hour. But because we changed our time, we agree that we just have it open for the whole day, because I don't expect someone to wake up at 6 to attempt a CAT. So we'll have it open. It's something we'll have to work out everything. That's a comprehensive test, which will be like a mirror of the exams to take the format of exams. So you work it out, scan and upload. I know you're used to the uploading. You joined school when we were doing the uploading and the online things. So we'll have our CAT. That means we'll not have a class. It will be our CAT class. So we should do it physically or do it the class hour. But because of the changes and because we discussed and agreed, we just have it open the whole day up to midnight. Then you give it an attempt during the day, whatever time you will choose. So we'll not have a class, we'll have a CAT. If you decide to wake up at 6 and do the CAT, I'll upload it on Friday evening. So you can attempt it the time you choose. I think that's all. Unless there's a
Excuse
question.
me.
Yes.
Now that we were talking about the covered interest rate arbitrage, does it really, for you to participate in this, does it need you to have a bank account in Tanzania or in that foreign country you want to invest it before you turn it back to your currency?
Of course, for fixed deposits, you might need a bank, but there are other financial instruments which you can invest in without a bank account.
Okay.
That's why I mentioned you can do it across all the financial instruments. There's some financial instruments you might not need a bank account.
Another question, Malim.
Yes.
Can you negotiate for a forward contract without having a bank account with the bank?
You know, you are negotiating forward rate on your side. You are negotiating in Kenya. And of course, for Kenya, I would assume that you have an account in Kenya. You cannot negotiate a forward rate without an account because you must have a relationship with the bank for them to trust you. But of course, with the local banks and all that, you can still negotiate a forward rate. The only thing it might not have the same weight it would have if you had a bank account with them. Reason being, maybe najua mtu ananipea dollars in the next 1 day or 2 weeks. And if it's a good number of dollars, then I can go and negotiate with them. I see people walking to bank and selling cash. They just convert to the local currency for consumption. So it does not need that you really need to have a bank with them. But for business or huge transactions, then you will need a bank because of course you're not working with close a million and convert it and walk away with it. So it's the reality in the practical. You cannot do it without a bank if it's a big transaction. But now with our local banks supporting the local mwananchi, it's practical. You can go tell them na make deal mahali. So hii siku ndakuwa na dollars. How will you help me? At what rate
And
will I convert?
you must prove that it is not money laundering and your account is not used as a conduit.
Yes. Actually, that's why the huge ones, you must have a relationship with the bank for you to get such an arrangement.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
I got a question under triangular arbitrage. Kindly, if you still have the where you did the calculations, there is somewhere I want to query about the cross exchange rate, how you got it. The 8.0 and 7.97 triangular arbitrage.
This one.
Yeah. The cross exchange rate.
The cross exchange rate of 8.0. This one.
Yes, and the 7.9.
Okay. We are given £1 equals to 1.60 US dollars and 1 MYR equals to 0.20 dollars. So this is the same as saying you can make a dollar unit here, 1 unit, and a dollar 1 unit on this side, then you equate. I think that's the easiest. So it will take a lot of calculations. So if you were to make a dollar or 1 unit here, it would be 1 US dollar equals to 1 divided by 1.6 pounds. Then on the other side, it would be $1 equals to 1 divided by 0.2 MYR. Then you equate these two, because now we have $1, $1. So it will be 1 divided by 1.6 pounds equals to 1 divided by 0.2 MYR. If you work it out, you will get 8.0, because you multiply by 1.6, multiply by 1.6. You are getting 1 pound equals to 1.6 divided by 0.2, which is getting it to 8. Okay, tuko sawa sasa hapo. Umeipata?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Mwalimu, after that, that's when you now countercheck between that, the cross exchange and the previous one that we had, 8.1 and 8.
Yes, there's a discrepancy. The market is giving more. Inakupea more na 1.
Yes.
0.1, yes.
So you choose the market one. Okay.
So now you can carry out triangular arbitrage and take advantage of this discrepancy. Our interest of calculating this, we wanted to see whether market is quoting the exact price or there's a discrepancy. If there's a discrepancy, then you can take advantage of the discrepancy and carry out a triangular arbitrage. Remember, with arbitrage, you said it's taking advantage in discrepancies of prices. So the purposes of calculating the cross exchange rate is to identify first, is there an arbitrage opportunity? Then now, if you realize there's a discrepancy, you know that there's an opportunity you can take advantage of.
Okay.
Then another question, Malim.
Yes.
When do you use the bid and ask rate?
As in?
Like here we are saying we used when we are converting the currencies after we look at the cross exchange. We used 8.1. I'm saying we used 8.2 and not 8.1. What is the decision criteria?
If you are following the discussions, we started here. Let me use the correct one, which has the correct rate. We said you are in US, you have 10,000 US dollars. So you are going to the bank. That means you are going to buy the pound because you are in US and you are going to the bank to get pounds. So you are going to buy the pounds. Now with buying, you should use selling price because the bank is selling to you. And the selling price is 1.61. That's why we used this rate here.
Okay.
6.1. Then we said after that, you have pounds and you want to get MYR and you're in US. That means you are still buying MYR. So that's why you are still using 8.2 because it's a buying price. The bank is selling at 8.2. So you have MYR, you are selling. You are in US, you have MYR, you are selling. So the bank is buying from you. That's the only concept you need to know. So they will buy at the buying rate. That's why we use this rate.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I think we can end the class there. Victor, I hope you managed to record and this one is complete so you can share.
Yes, I managed to record.
Okay. This one is a bit complete. I know there are people who are still asking for more links. Let me see whether I can upload some few on the Moodle right now. But nimeona iko chini, sijui ni yangu peke yangu ama ni zote. Let me see whether I can upload some more. If I don't manage, Victor, remind me on Monday I upload. So some of them I started recording halfway, so they might not be very complete.
Okay.
But this one, Victor will share because it's complete.
Okay, I'll share.
Sawa, thank you. Let's meet the other Saturday.
Okay, thank you,
Have a
Mwalimu.
good weekend, Mwalimu.
Thank you.
The DL will upload on your e-learning platform. Someone is saying that we have it on WhatsApp. WhatsApp video ni mzito, itajaza simu. You have to get alternative. Even the one Victor has might have to upload kwa YouTube yake. Na tupe link tuende huko.
Sawa, Mwalimu.
The video is so heavy. If you put 2 or 3 on phone, itakula space mingi sana. Okay.